Hi, this is Welcome to Self, and I'm your host, Dr. Hayley D. Quinn, the anti-burnout business coach. I'm a speaker, author, former clinical psychologist, and late identified ADHDer. Welcome to Self is a podcast for business owners like you who want success, but not at the cost of your well-being. This is about transforming self and transforming business. I'll be here to remind you that you're human first, and as well as being a business owner, you have different roles in your life that need your attention. And to manage those well, you need to take care of yourself in the best way possible. Here you'll learn about practices that'll help you navigate not just your business, but your non-work life as well. And you'll realise that you're not alone in the ways you struggle. You'll have your curiosity piqued on various topics as I chat with wonderful guests and bring you solo bite-sized episodes. I'm here for service-based business owners and entrepreneurs like you to help you increase your self-care and compassion, change your relationship with yourself and your business, and elevate your business to a new level so you can live the full and meaningful life you desire. This is a place of nourishment, growth, and helpful information. A place where you can learn ways to assist you and your business to thrive. We'll talk all things mindset, strategy, and well-being, and I'm so excited you're here. If you haven't already, go and hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. So let's get started. Hi, and welcome back to another episode. It's so nice to be back recording another season with you. I mentioned last episode that I've got the waitlist for the book. So if you're not already on the waitlist, get yourself over there. It's going to start getting really exciting. The first draft is written and I'm in the process of doing the edits for the first kind of read through. What if I told you that you could get more done or progress more quickly if you allowed yourself to calm your nervous system? Now, I've mentioned this before. The trainings I did when I was a psychologist with the wonderful Dr. Kelly Wilson, he always used to say, we've got a lot to get through, so let's go slowly, which might sound counterintuitive, but let me explain. When we think about the nervous system, and I'm going to keep it simple for this because this is just a bite-sized episode, we have the sympathetic nervous system, which is almost like the accelerator on a car. When we breathe in, we activate the sympathetic nervous system, and that kind of revs up our nervous system. And we have the parasympathetic nervous system, which I like to think of as like the brakes in the car. So as we breathe out, we take that nice long out breath, we start to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. We're told take a big deep breath. And I always think back to kind of PE classes at school. And they say, take a big deep breath in, like breathe into your chest. And what I now know is we really don't want to be doing that. We want to take a big deep breath into our belly. And then when we're breathing out, make sure we've got an equal to or longer out breath, because this is what activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, when our sympathetic nervous system is very activated, we can be in our threat system. We can be quite activated. We can be starting to get quite agitated. Things feel like they're more urgent. And our decision-making can be tricky. So whilst we might be getting lots done, we might be kind of jumping around, thinking about different decisions or moving from activity to activity. And we think we're getting a lot done. Oftentimes, we're actually just being busy for busy's sake. And if we are in our threat system, we might be being busy because we've got some things going on that are telling us that, we need to be more productive. We need to be getting things done. We shouldn't be sitting around. But this isn't actually helpful in the long term. If we can have a calm and grounded nervous system, we can access our wisdom. And when we can do that, we can start to think about what are the things that are actually going to be really helpful for me to do? How can I take my time on this particular task to make sure that I do it well and it gets finished before I get caught in a flurry of a million other tasks? Now, for some of us neurodivergent folk, that can be tricky and our mind is going to jump around. And for me personally, I have some things that I have set aside of what I call my productive procrastination. So if my mind is wanting to jump around, I kind of encourage it to jump to something else that I know I want to get done. We do need to accept, though, that when we are jumping from task to task, that it takes time for our attention to kind of catch up and for us to get back into focus. Sometimes we're going to be able to be in hyper focus and get that thing done. And other times we need to accept that we're perhaps not going to be as, let's call it, efficient as we might be if we were just focused on one task. But the general thing is, if we can keep our nervous system calm and grounded, we're more likely to be able to stick with the things that are important to us. One of the things I've started doing, I love a list. I do a to-do list because I like the dopamine hit of ticking that off. So I work in a platform called Notion, no affiliation to them at all, but my VA put me onto it and I found it really helpful. And I'd noticed that I was putting a lot of things in. Just everything I knew I needed to do, I was putting it on the list, and they were all ending up on the same day. So when I actually went to look at that list, it could feel quite overwhelming. So one of the things I've been doing is starting my day with a gentle breathing exercise where I am doing my soothing rhythm breathing. So equal in and out breaths. Or if I'm feeling particularly heightened or anxious that morning, I'll make sure the out breath is longer than the in breath. And once I feel like my nervous system is calm, I go back to that list and really look and be really honest with myself around what are the important tasks that need to be done today. And the others I just schedule to another day. Once I've done that, I can look at that list and feel like, yeah, these are actually the things that I know that I can get done today. There's not too many. If they're small tasks, then there can obviously be more of them. But if there's bigger tasks in them, in the list, then I make sure I move some of the other tasks to another time. And then I, as best as I can, go systematically through that list. And as I'm doing this, I'm checking in with myself and making sure that my nervous system is feeling as calm and regulated as it can feel on that particular day. So my question for you is, how often do you slow down and check in with yourself? Really check in with how your nervous system is feeling. How are you feeling in your mind and your body? For me, doing this on a regular basis has been really game-changing. It's also meant that I have stopped and taken the rest I need when I need it. It allows me to factor in what's going on in my life, how I'm feeling emotionally. I'm in menopause, so my cycle doesn't quite work the same as it used to. But for you, if you are pre-menopause, you may want to factor in where you are in your cycle, how you're feeling physically and emotionally. Thinking about the things that you have on outside of your work that may be impacting how able you are to do the things you need to do in your work. But really just slowing down and checking in with yourself and asking yourself, what do you need? How can you calm your nervous system? I speak to a lot of people, and this isn't something that we tend to do a lot of. For me, it's become a daily, regular practice, and I would really invite you to bring a practice like this into your life as well. So my second question would be, when would be a good time for you to intentionally do that check-in? Now, as I mentioned, I do this before I start my work in the morning as I go to look at that to-do list. But then I also check in at minimum midway through the day. And then also after I decide to finish my work for the day, so that I can think about what it is that I need for the evening. Sometimes it might be that I need some movement, that I feel like perhaps I've been sitting for a long time and I need to move my body more. Other times I may have been quite active through the day, or I may have been doing a lot of thinking and had a lot of cognitive load, and I really just want to tune out and rest. So those are the questions I've got for you this week. When was the last time you slowed down and checked in with yourself? And then thinking about starting a regular practice of doing that, when would be a good time for you to intentionally check in? And when I first started doing this, I used to set an alarm in my phone, because otherwise I'd just forget. Like I'd have all good intentions and my ADHD brain would be like, yeah, we'll do that later. Sorry, do what later? So setting an alarm in your phone, I think, can be really helpful. I hope you're enjoying the season being back. I'm really enjoying being back. Next week, we have a guest episode with Caitlin, who is an amazing creative woman. And I look forward to bringing that episode to you. You'll find details of the book waitlist in the show notes. I'm excited to be back with you next week. In the meantime, go well and go gently with yourself. And remember, if you thrive, your business will too. Bye. Thanks for sharing this time with me today. I hope it's been helpful and supportive. If there's been something in this episode that you have found helpful, I encourage you to share it with your business besties so they can benefit too. Shares, ratings and reviews really help to increase awareness and reach of the podcast, meaning more people can benefit from the information. I really appreciate you taking the time. If you'd like to know about the ways we can work together, check out my website at drhayleydquinn.com. I'll pop the link in the show notes, and you can also join my mailing list from there and be kept up to date with all that is happening. I do need to say, because legal stuff, this podcast is solely for the purpose of education and entertainment. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for individual advice or advice of health professionals or other qualified professionals. Okay, now we've got that formal stuff out of the way. I love hearing from listeners, so don't be shy. Reach out and let me know your thoughts on the episode or what else you'd like to hear about. I wish you well in your relationship with yourself and your business, and may you go well and go gently. And remember, if you thrive, your business will too.